From nobody to somebody, Alex Cooper has truly made a mark on the podcast industry with her well-known podcast, Call Her Daddy. Although the so-called raunchy podcast has caused controversy around the nation, it has undoubtedly become one of the most successful podcasts in Barstool Sports history. But how did Alex Cooper cope with all of this?
I don't think they knew the impact it was having, but it was destroying me inside.
What happened to Call Her Daddy? Call Her Daddy is currently one of the most popular female podcasts out there, but where did it all start? Following Alex Cooper's new partnership with Barstool Sports, the first official Call Her Daddy episode was released in April of 2018. Hosts Alex Cooper and Sophia Franklin detail their relationships and sex lives all while living in New York. From April 2018 to April 2020, the Call Her Daddy podcast had risen to the top of the charts and had gained the show a massive following of loyal fans. The show featured many familiar faces who all spoke about their past relationships and sex, which is what the entire podcast was about. On April 21st of 2020, Call Her Daddy episodes had stopped coming out, and fans were quick to hop to Twitter to figure out what had happened to their favorite show. The Call Her Daddy crew was quick to respond to these tweets, replying, "We are always 100% transparent with the Daddy Gang, but legally we can't speak out yet. What we will say is we will never leave you, Daddy Gang. The minute we can speak, we will." With the hashtag #FreeTheFathers. The hashtag had grown so popular, they even came out with merch that had hashtag #FreeTheFathers on it. With all the drama going on behind the scenes of Call Her Daddy,
it's Call Her Daddy.
The New York Post dropped an article detailing a dispute that went on between both of the Call Her Daddy hosts, Alex Cooper and Sophia Franklin. In terms of their partnership with Barstool Sports, the duo supposedly wanted to leave Barstool Sports before their 3-year contract was over. And finally, the silence around the Call Her Daddy podcast was stopped by the Barstool Sports president on the new Call Her Daddy episode called Daddy Speaks. He unveils the truth to the Daddy Gang about problems behind the scenes. He backs up the claim from the New York Post that Franklin's boyfriend, Peter Nelson, had been trying to sell the podcast to other networks. Cooper and Franklin wanted contract changes and their intellectual property from Barstool after their contract ended. Since Call Her Daddy was so successful, Barstool's president agreed to their terms to keep the podcast. Sounds perfect, right? Wrong. While Alex was sold on staying with Barstool Sports, Sophia didn't want to continue their partnership, leading to the big business dispute. Later that day, Sophia released a video on Twitter and Instagram explaining her side of the story. She claims that Alex went behind her back for undisclosed reasons. However, she still wanted to do Call Her Daddy, just not under the conditions that Alex wanted. She said, "I found out that Alex had gone behind my back and done something, and I found out that it wasn't the first time, and that's why we're here. I trusted Alex. I feel betrayed, but ultimately, she was my best friend, and that doesn't change overnight. I'm willing to do Call Her Daddy. I really am. I just can't do it under the circumstances that she wants."
I found out that Alex had gone behind my back and done something. And I found out it wasn't the first time.
And not too soon after, Alex Cooper released a YouTube video explaining the Call Her Daddy situation from her point of view. Basically, Alex backed up everything that the Barstool's president mentioned in the Daddy Speaks episode, explaining that Sophia Franklin's requests for contract changes were simply too much for Barstool Sports to offer. She said, "I wanted Call Her Daddy to remain a duo. I want Sophia to stay at Barstool with me, and I wanted to do Call Her Daddy with Sophia so badly. I wasn't going to ask for more money with the editing. I wanted to shake Dave's hand right on the rooftop."
The minute we left that rooftop meeting is when the issue started with Sophia and I.
As a result, Alex Cooper surprised the Daddy Gang and says that she will continue Call Her Daddy without her co-host Sophia Franklin. Following the split up of the well-loved duo, Alex Cooper went on as usual until July 2021 when Call Her Daddy left Barstool Sports and allegedly got a deal with Spotify worth $60 million. Once the podcast had officially gone on as a Spotify exclusive, Alex Cooper opened up about everything that had happened with Barstool Sports and her pay. She claimed they underpaid her. Although she didn't care, she said she didn't realize how much the podcast was worth until she switched to Spotify and got a huge pay increase. The show has since gone on without any major bumps in the road until recently when Alex Cooper went on The Diary of a CEO as a guest and revealed everything that went down behind the scenes of Call Her Daddy. Alex Cooper opens up the podcast talking about her family and her come up, saying she was bullied when she was a child but was too afraid to tell her parents about it because she wanted them to be proud of her. Although many people might not see this as correlating to the story in any way, later down the line, Alex opens up and says that she still struggles with the same people-pleasing, need-to-be-successful tendencies.
Exploiting my life for 4 years, there is a cost.
He also talked about how hard it was living with her co-host and how everything felt like such a disaster that she was compromising on a lot of things that felt morally wrong, all for the sake of the show.
The last year or so that I had a co-host, I was really struggling. Call Her Daddy was the biggest show ever. And everyone was like, these girls are the best of friends. And it was all crumbling behind the scenes.
She talked a lot about how even though everything looked happy and perfect on the outside, things were crumbling behind the scenes. She said that the show came first before her mental and physical needs, and it put her in a really tough spot mentally and physically. She goes on to talk more about the dynamic of the duo behind the scenes, but later in the episode, she starts talking about the fallout between Alex and Sophia and how dark it had truly gotten. She said that no one really wants to know how dark things got behind the scenes, and no one needs to know. She goes on to say that she was made to be the villain in the story, which put her in a really uncomfortable situation of wanting to explain herself and wanting to tell everyone the truth.
I struggled so much wanting to tell the full story and wanting to tell the truth.
She said that people calling the villain was eating her alive and making her feel horrible about herself, especially since no one knew what truly went on.
Someone's gonna be the victim and someone's gonna be the villain, and I was the villain.
During the episode, Alex got emotional talking about everything she faced outside of her online personality on the podcast Call Her Daddy. But she claims she still loves the show and that the previous issues with Barstool Sports helped her be more proactive when signing a deal with Spotify, and that she's glad she went through everything because it got her to where she is today. The podcast was truly something, and I loved listening to it and hearing everything Alex had to say regarding her own personal struggles and her struggles from the business aspect of it. What do you think about the whole Call Her Daddy drama? Do you like the show? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to receive all the latest updates.
I don't think they knew the impact it was having. Like, it was like a casual mean comment at recess, but it was destroying me inside.